cut. You have one more question? Cheryl, you can do it. If you were speaking, which you are, to people who want to teach lesbian cinema, what's the one movie you'd say, you know, make sure you hit this one, and just a brief why? Just one or two or three, and it doesn't have to be your favorite, because we're talking
lesbian cinema
or queer.
I would say see Celluloid Closet by Rob Epstein and Jeff Friedman. It's sort of the Bible and overview of all queer cinema, and gives you, a really good timeline of, the history of queers in cinema in front and behind the camera with clips. It'll introduce you to, the whole palette and range of what has been made. It doesn't do much for contemporary cinema. If you want to see that, you want to see Fabulous! Exclamation point. That sort of brings more of the sort of, new queer cinema people in it, from Christine Vachon in '91 and her camp to sort of a present moment. But I think those two will allow you to make a good list of films to see. If you wanted to pick a lesbian film within the context of, made by a lesbian woman director, I have yet to see the film, but I think it might be The Kids Are Alright by Lisa Cholodenko. And it's just coming out right now, and I think it does everything that every lesbian has been trying to do with cinema, is, make a film where we're just characters in a regular melodrama about our lives.
So I guess I've been thinking about what I would say.
Start again.
Yeah. If I said, if you're teaching lesbian cinema within the context of queer cinema, and I think I will add this caveat: when people say new queer cinema, they tend to only think about the male film directors, and one of the things that I think is an important historical intervention is to say that what was exciting about new queer cinema was that lesbians and gay men were making new kinds of movie in collaboration and dialogue with each other. So that, just as an example, Go Fish, two of the women who made Go Fish are in our film The Owls. Those women were friends with and collaborating with Tom Kalin. He produced their movie. Christine Vachon produced Todd Haynes' movies. The birth of queer cinema came out of AIDS activist video, which is something I care very much about, where lesbians and gay men came together out of a political and personal commitment to gay men who were dying. It was a very creative time, and they formed new relationships, and they needed to name those new relationships as queer. And then there's a body of cinema, and Our Watermelon Woman is also part of that body of cinema, was made by both men and women, and that's why we needed the word queer. So lesbian cinema, or cinema made by women who are self-identified as lesbians, was in a lot of conversation with those movies. But I would say go back and see some of the amazing work by lesbians at an AIDS activist video. And, I would take my hats off to Jean Carla Musto, who is someone that I collaborated with that time. And she's made a lot of movies. But Shotzi is Dying is a wonderful movie that she made after AIDS activism, looking back at that time. But you could, look at the entire oeuvre of Jean Carla Musto as one example of that time. And the really creative and inspiring relationships that we had politically, artistically, and socially with other women and the gay men that we, love. So that's the end of our...
I want to say one more thing.
Yeah.
Barbara Hammer's Super Dyke. Got it. That's the mother of all.
The mothership.
That's the mothership film, experimental, expressionistic, everything that we try to do, to Sadie Benning's work, to whatnot, to any kind of short film, is Barbara Hammer, and we must laud the mother. The mother owl. Thank you. Forget about Barbara Hammer. Everybody forgets about Barbara.
I don't forget about Barbara Hammer.
A lot of people don't even know who she is.